everyone, it's Tammy here from Radiance Wellbeing, and I'm starting this video series with Andrea Kintzley, she used to be a student of mine in my qigong classes in East Vancouver, and we got to know each other over social media. And she's a licensed massage therapist. And when we got to know each other, she told me that she's getting more into the healing arts, such as Reiki, etc. So I thought it was a lovely opportunity to bring Andrea onto this video series and see what she has to say about healing as a journey in itself and not necessarily a destination. So thank you so much, Andrea, for agreeing to come on, and obviously for this beautiful connection that we made. It was really lovely.
That's what I love. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, so in terms of what your services are, what business you have, what your mission is, do you want to explain to people the name of your business and then a little bit more information about what you do?
So right now I am in a huge transitional phase, as which we've talked about, and I am a massage therapist. I've been doing massage for over 14 years. And as my business has progressed, I have started to journey into, like you said, Reiki, energy work, sound healing. I'm also going to be incorporating breath work into sessions as well. So right now I am doing massage. I'm unfortunately booked, or my practice is full, so I'm not taking new massage clients, but I am in this process of unraveling and unrolling these new services to help with a different type of release. When you're talking about a mission, I've always focused on these physical release and providing relaxation. And as I started to do more massage, I realized there's a lot of stagnant energy. There's a lot of stagnant emotion that I'm coming across, and that I wanted to start progressing my practice to help address those types of blockages and release some of that and help clients in that journey.
That is amazing. Isn't it interesting how one thing leads to another? And actually, in our own evolution of what we learn as practitioners or what we learn from our clients, sends us maybe onto a different path that we didn't think that we would go on. And so do you think, is it that you're going to incorporate these with your existing clients? Do you think they'd be open to it? Or are you looking for a new clientele, or both? Have you spoken to your existing clients about it?
A little of both. I have some clients that I feel are very open to this expansion and what will come next. And even if they're not going to be fully a part of that, that's okay. They want to know what I'm doing. And I've had plenty of clients that have been really willing to let me practice, working on them. I will be looking for new clientele. I really do want to open my practice up to more people. And massage will not be the focus as much going forward. I will eventually, years down the road, transition to fully doing the energy work side of things. And so it will be a little of both, I hope. I hope that my current clients will want to keep going with me. And I also would like to welcome many new clients into my practice.
Oh, fabulous. Okay, that's really good to know. And so we were talking earlier before this about what made you choose the kind of work that you do. And I'm sure people would be interested in the journey you've had so far that led you to doing first the massage therapy and then onward to this other energy work.
Yeah, massage really kind of came into my life in a way. It wasn't something I was pursuing. I wouldn't even say personally my journey into wellness and the metaphysical and all that, hadn't even really consciously started yet. I was working in the mortgage industry, a completely unrelated field, in an office. And unfortunately, I experienced a very traumatic loss in my mid-20s, and I had all these goals and plans for the future, and all of that was just instantaneously gone. And so what it provided was this kind of blank slate of like, you've got your whole life ahead of you, like what's going to happen? And I started receiving massage therapy on a regular basis as just part of my own healing. And I saw this really amazing massage therapist who just took such good care of me. And eventually, as I saw her on a more regular basis, I realized I could do this. I think I would be good at this. And so I eventually started taking classes in the evening for massage therapy while I kept my other job. And I was eventually able to quit my job and start doing massage, and then eventually start my own practice. And it has evolved, I think, because I have evolved that way. I started to realize in my own healing that there was so much of an energetic portion of what was happening. And not only that, as I did grow and heal, there were elements that continued to come back. When I think I used to view healing as very linear. You know, it was like you do the things and then you're healed. Ta-da. But that's not what happened. I would have years down the road, something would emerge again, and I had to face that and deal with it. And I used to get really angry about that, I think, at first, of just like, why is this back? But now I really embrace it, and I kind of ask, why is this here? What do I need to address? What do I need to, learn from this situation right now?
Wow, and that's interesting. It reminds me of my qigong teacher, who I've been, dedicatedly doing his classes twice a week for like 3 years, no matter pandemic or being online or whatever. And he said that when we do these energetic practices, whether they're movement or breath work or working with the energy field or touch or whatever it might be, when we're addressing these stored stresses in the body and in the tissues, we have to do it like almost like brushing our teeth. Mm-hmm. It's because, okay, we can heal some old wounds, they may reprise, and then we get more challenges and more stress coming into our lives, which sits in the cells, in the tissues, in the organs, in the joints, right? And so whatever practices we do, it's a lifelong journey. And so I love that topic, that when we were discussing what are we going to talk about, you're like, well, yes, healing is a journey, not a destination. And that can have many guises. So I'm really interested that how your practice has evolved with your own journey in healing has evolved, and probably with your clients too, I suppose. When did it actually dawn on you, like, oh, okay, I think if I incorporate breath work and sound and energy healing and Reiki, was it through some kind of epiphany with some client, or how did that kind of emerge?
I think it started, I would say, early on in my massage career. I started to notice people would come in with these chronic issues, and they were in the same spot, and I would work on them and let's focus on this. And, they would feel relief. Great. But then they would come back in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and, it felt exactly the same. And I think sometimes we can attribute pain to, an accident or an injury, and you can say, oh, this hurts because of this. But so many times I was finding that people would come back in and they didn't have any idea why this area of their body would hurt. I saw a lot of people with low back and hip issues, and like, as a lot of people know through yoga and through a lot of different practices, that is where we store a lot of emotion. And so I kind of started to see that repetitively happening in my practice. And so I was seeing a lot of my clients coming in with these repetitive points of pain and discomfort, and they were not areas that they were able to associate with injury or with an accident. They didn't know, why does my shoulder hurt? Why does my back hurt? Whatever area it might be. And at the same time, I was receiving, Reiki work and having energy work done. And I was experiencing these major, energetic releases and release of emotion, and finding areas of my own discomfort and pain that were getting settled. And so as I was doing those things, and then also experiencing this with my practice, I was able to start making that correlation of, yes, this massage is going to feel good. It's going to work out the tissues, but there's something deeper there. There's the energetic, emotional core of what my clients are feeling, that I think is really the culprit long term.
That's like a light bulb kind of went off. And so what I'm hearing is it's like the practices that you went as a client for and you had experience of, you felt like that would then help your clients release those stuck areas that you had worked on for ages and ages, and it just wasn't unwinding. And so very much a lot of the people that I speak to many times pursue a certain path or vocation or a calling because of their own personal experience. And so your healing journey seems to have informed how what you decided to do for your business and how you decided to grow it and change it and whatever. But are there any key points on your healing journey where you feel like, oh, okay, that's where it made me think, apart from the Reiki side, maybe earlier on, anything in that healing journey that was really stuck and you did feel a release and then felt much, much better, and then things started to pile up again, and then you needed to get back into regular, whatever the practices are, that you maybe tell us what practices you've done on your own healing journey, whatever you'd like to share.
Yeah, I think, when it came, there's just trauma. I think, the really extreme situations that I found myself in through loss, childhood trauma, those sorts of things that I would, like we talked about, kind of work through. And eventually down the road, years down the road, I was a different person. I was a wife and a mom, and, there were these different aspects of who I was. And so I would view situations differently as well. And so these pieces of this, like these layers of healing would come back. And I don't know of a specific kind of release, but I think that being able to embrace those layers when they come up is what really kind of made me I don't feel like I'm holding on to stuff the same way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about this or that the way that I was before. I definitely feel that when I can tell that I'm getting a little bit frantic and dysregulated, I always need to come back to myself. I need to kind of shut out the outside world a little bit. What do I need? What is it that I need to take care of for me? And it sounds so simple, but I think we're kind of programmed not to do that a lot of the time. I think that's something I know I had to learn, that it was not a natural thing for me to do. So whether that's just as simple as, like, right now I have some incense going and a couple candles. Like I love scent. That gets me really calm and feeling good. Even there's certain music that sometimes I need to be uplifted, or sometimes I need to calm myself down. So just connecting to the things that make me feel like me, that really is at the core of it. And then, how we met through qigong, that was such a liberating experience for me when I started, practicing and learning about qigong, because I could shift my energy. It's amazing to have a facilitator there, but that was something that I could do on my own. And I do qigong moves throughout my day, even if it's just for like 30 seconds, if I need to get grounded or shake something off. I do practices like yoga. I meditate, I would say. It's my version of meditation. And sometimes that's just putting on headphones and, again, like listening to music or something to just get me centered and grounded and back to me. Obviously, I've talked about things like Reiki and sound healing. I get regular massage. So, I feel like the important part is there are tiny little things that we can do in our day to day that are so impactful and important. We don't have to do all the big services and go to a spa all the time. And, it's embracing the little things that make you feel like you and get you grounded again.
Oh, I love that. Okay, today, if I've got one takeaway, it's like when you are quiet enough and still enough for you to feel into who you really are and shut everything else out. It's such a simple kind of idea, and we almost never do it, right?
Yes.
I
And I
mean,
lost you for a second. I'm sorry.
Um, did I, oh, I don't know what there's a
I think
connection.
it's on my end, I guess. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Anyway. um, okay, I'll start again. So the takeaway that I'm having right now is whatever makes you feel like you again, right? And it can be something so simple and so it doesn't have to be like some grand thing, or as you say, going to a spa or doing a whole kind of series of whatever. It's just those micro moments in the day when you're taking care of yourself, when you're really being present and just feeling into the heart and feeling into the breath and just noticing, hey, how's my heart feeling? Or hey, like, what are the thoughts in my head? And is there something I can do to just quieten them down a little bit and really feel into who I am at my core, just for a couple of minutes, and then get back out into the world? I think that's really such a great practice. And everyone has their own thing, right? So it's music or taking a walk or, watching the birds fly or, smelling a bouquet of flowers, whatever it might be. They're just those very, very tiny, actionable steps that we sometimes don't think of that can really bring us back into presence and help us get through the day. So that was really great for you to remind me of that, because sometimes I don't do that. I've got people have their morning rituals and then they're like,
yes,
on the freeway and doing 100 things, 100 miles an hour, and then they come back at home and then they, and maybe there's some exercise in the evening or something, but those times in the middle, it's like flossing your teeth, right? You kind of want to get into, if you don't floss every day, then it's going to build up, and if you don't floss throughout the day, so if you don't practice that kind of self-care during the day, it can be just a couple of times. That's really true. It's the small things that break up the challenges that come and meet us on a day-to-day basis. We can really, we don't need anyone from outside. We learn the tools and then we can apply them. And that, as you say, like when I'm teaching, my goal is for you to be able to look after yourself with a few things that I've taught you. And then if you never want to come back to my class, that's fine. If you want to come back, it's fine. But my job is done when I can give you something so simple and so powerful that you can practice it every day, just shaking out or, moving your head or doing whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm sure there's been some lessons you've learned along the way about things that maybe you could have done differently or would have done differently, but they may have led you on to something even better. So I'm interested to know that, were there any lessons that were hard learned that were actually, it wasn't like you had a failure or something, but it was steering you in a different direction, personally or professionally, whatever that may be?
I think professionally, the one thing that I always think back on with my practice is that, especially when I was first starting, like you obviously, I wanted to get people in and, part of my practice, and I want people on my table, and, that's how you build a business. But I really found that when I would put myself in situations, like if I was marketing myself or whatever I was doing, if I did something that just didn't feel like I was not putting myself in a bad situation, but if it wasn't comfortable with who I am, it wasn't like a good feeling of pushing myself outside of my box. It kind of made me feel almost like I was inauthentic in some ways. And even though I really wanted to just build my business and get people coming in to see me, I found that the more that I made my practice work for me, when I was working, the schedule that worked for me, and, when I saw the amount of clients per day that I wanted to see, and I wasn't just providing a service and get people in the door, and I'm going to go meet everybody and do all these things that maybe are not aligned with where I'm at, I found that my practice it had an ease to it. It's not like everything just fell into my lap and I didn't have to work, but the more that I was making my practice work for me personally, and the more authentic that I was. And I really based my business on referrals, which is a slow way to build a business. But once I did that, things just really took off. And I think maybe it's the industry of wellness that sometimes when you look at more like business type building, it can kind of go against what we're doing. And I think that's what I was trying to push stuff and, oh, I should do this, as opposed to this is what feels right. And this is eventually what did work out and was right for me.
I love that, because it's in this world where everyone's trying to grab attention on social media for selling something or telling you something or teaching you something. I think that going back to the energy, you have an energy match. I think we have energy matches with different people, or that beautiful energy flow that is exchanged between people. And I might be your type of person, and you'll come to me no matter how much I advertise and market to XYZ person. If our energy doesn't flow and match in exchange, we're just going to repel each other. We'll meet once, they'll get a massage from you, or they'll meet me and take a class from me, and they're like, oh, that's not my thing. And so they'll try it, but they won't come back. And so it's the authentic you of your own aura and your own energy. And I love that when you're mentioning that about be patient and do what feels good, and how easeful and calm that feels around what you're doing, even in your place of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
The energy that's in that room when this person's on the table, they'll feel it when you're at ease and that kind of thing. So it's a big lesson to learn when everyone's trying to jump on the latest fad and viral, whatever. And that reminds me, I was part of an intention setting group throughout the pandemic. We met every week and we would focus on an intention for the group, and miraculous things happened. And I had an intention that I wanted to teach, but I wanted the people who needed me to find me. I didn't want to solicit and go out. And it kind of worked out. So I really understand what you're saying. It feels so easeful and so full of grace and full of flow, right?
So to kind of complement what you were just saying, I've done the same thing with intentions, and I've kind of put it out there of, here are the days and times that I'm looking to fill my practice. And like you said, the people that works for their schedule, the people that would like the service that I provide. And it has happened many times. And I have, clients that I've seen for the entirety of my career. A lot of them have been with me for over a decade. And even in recent years, I've had, few people that have unique schedules that can really fill in the gaps of my current practice. And so, again, putting out there what I need and not relying on some other source of making my practice be something that isn't going to work for me has been really beneficial for me as well.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, I think also we must also admit, if we are in a position, sometimes I forget what privilege we're in. Like, obviously, it is just, there's so many blessings, and we are so fortunate to, have maybe a stable relationship and a second income in the household, or the primary income in the household. I always think back, because I came from corporate. So you came from mortgage, I came from corporate, and I had my own salary, and it was a decent salary, pretty good by the time I'd gone up the ranks. And then shifting from Australia, coming here, and then not really knowing what I wanted to do, and then starting this business. I have to thank my husband so much, and the fact of the way that we have this privileged lifestyle, that I was able to train and teach and do what I do, and not have it make be the end of the world if I'm not getting as many students or as many events that I want to happen. And I think a lot of people don't have that luxury,
Mm-hmm.
and we can sometimes forget or whatever, that
100%.
it is it is a lot of good fortune. And yet at the same time, there is so much that we have to give also to people, and help them bring some ease and some softness and tenderness into their lives. That I think with massage therapy, it's so you're so hands-on, like literally part of the time, but it really is like that, and it's such a caring kind of vocation, and I'm there a few feet away but still feeling that energy. So yeah, that's yeah, we I think that, oh, despite the privilege, and we don't want to come across as being like, oh, well, you know, this is for the wealthy or for whatever. I mean, I've seen places, I've given free classes to different people who I think wouldn't be able to afford it, and I would love them to be able to experience it. And I'm sure I've seen in lots of places where there's a sliding scale and different pricing arrangements for different more, you know, underprivileged groups or whatever. But there's something to be said for that calling inside of you saying, I need to share this with the world, and I want people to feel better from interacting with me. That is priceless, I think. You know, it's the opportunity cost of us having like a 9-to-5 job in an office and knowing we're getting a certain paycheck or whatever. And that certainty kind of helps you a little bit, you know, pay the mortgage or whatever, but it doesn't fill your soul if it's not what you're called to do.
And I definitely, as we were kind of talking about things, that was something that came up for me, was that I definitely take this for granted, not in a terrible way, but I don't always realize how what I get to do professionally is such a reflection of me personally. And I know that not everybody gets to have that experience. Maybe not everybody wants that, but I think there are a lot of people that probably have that calling and that feeling as well, of wanting to do something that is a direct reflection of them or their experience. And so I do feel very lucky. And just as we talk about these correlations between our practices and our own personal experience, how amazing that is, you know, to be able to be out doing these things is such a gift.
It totally is. Like, I think, I don't know, sometimes when you think of what's the ultimate thing, like if you could do the same thing every day and you wouldn't get depleted, and it would just make you feel buoyant and alive and vibrant. And I remember I was telling some students, or I told my husband, like, in summer, I teach people in my garden, my neighbors, for free, because I just love it when the weather's good. And I just roll out of bed, get ready, go out and teach them, and come back, and I am on top of the world. If I could do that every day, I think I would be so happy. Is there anything in particular? So I'm wondering, I've heard, because I've, you know, had massage therapists who I've been with for many, many years back in Australia, and they're now in their 60s. And it's one of those things that I think that particular career, there's a certain limit on what the body can take, of how much, you know, your hands, your wrists, your fingers, all of that physical work that you do. Like, you know, is there one perfect kind of day that you could envisage, that what would you be working on, with whom, how, like, do you have like a dream in your mind that if this was what I would do every day, it would be a mixture of this, or I would be in touch with this type of person, I would offer this type of service or this type of healing?
I love that. I will be honest, I love massage therapy, and I would do massage therapy until I, you know, was old, but that's just not the type of career that it is. And so, you know, like you were saying, that's just not something I'm going to be able to do forever. And I would say probably like 5 years ago is when I started the wheels turning, like, well, what's next for me? Because I don't want to just wake up one day and be like, I can't massage people anymore, like, and have no goal or future. And so I think, again, you know, with what we've been talking about, of these additions to what I'll be offering in my practice, it was also looking ahead for my next, you know, stage of my career. And so as I'm thinking of that, again, I love massage therapy, but I'm thinking, I just love the idea of working with people who are wanting to take that next step in their healing process, or maybe they don't know what they need. And to have people come in and work with them, with Reiki, with energy work, incorporating sound healing, having them do breath work, because I think it's so great to be able to be a participant in that as well. It's so great to have a facilitator there getting you going, but when you can participate in that, I think you feel it on this different kind of somatic level. You can kind of feel other things happening. So I think that's right now, as I envision, it's kind of moving into that phase and working solely with those types of therapies, and just kind of working with people. I think we're in a time where a lot of people get massage therapy. That's a very common thing these days. And now we're kind of exploring what's next. I mean, I'm doing that, but I think individuals who are looking for healing or services to help aid them in their journey are looking for what's next for them as well. And I think with what you're doing, and it's the same thing, is that people are looking for that next step.
Wow. Yeah. That's interesting. I think the pandemic kind of made everyone like change their whole outlook on life and what's important for mental health and physical health, and thriving in a different kind of world. If you haven't got your health and well-being, then everything else kind of just fades away into the distance. The money, the success, whatever it might be, it just has no meaning unless you're well in your mind and your body and your spirit, and you're fully able to participate in all there is to to enjoy what we have here on the planet, and the connection and the friendships and relationships we make. How much sweeter when we're all trying to be as well as we can be in community. It makes a big difference too. Oh, well, I've had so much fun talking to you. It's been fabulous. And I just wanted to ask you to tell people how they may be able to get in touch with you, in terms of, maybe you're not taking the massage clients, but for your future bookings for Reiki, sound healing, etc. Where should people go to look for your new services coming up?
So I'm very off the grid right now. I don't have my website set up. I have no social media for my business because of that, not accepting any more clients, and because I'm not quite at that next stage. I guess maybe if they can reach out to you and we could maybe connect that way, and then maybe further down the line, we could get my information out there. That would be great, because that will be happening within the next couple months. So
okay. Lovely.
Phases, yeah.
Yeah, and if when I put this on YouTube or whatever, I can, once you've got your website, I'll add it down at the bottom, and we can do another.
That would be great. Yeah.
All right, lovely. Oh, well, thank you so much, Andrea. It's just, it's a pleasure to know you. And isn't it interesting? I love it that when you meet someone somewhere and you click, and then you get talking, and then one thing leads to another. And there's so many complementary things about the services that we provide, but also like just having this outlook on life to be in that process of wellness and healing, and for ourselves and for others. I think that is, it's great to be able to talk from a place of experience, and have a little bit of life sort of thrown a few things at us, and we've made it through the other side and been able to take that healing and share it with other people so that they can have a better journey going forward. So thank you so much. And yeah, all the best for your new, the new phase of your business and your wellness offerings.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll see everyone soon at the next Radiance Wellbeing video session, and bye for now.